Hey guys! So today, if you watched my last video, you will know who Cici is.
Hi, you guys, I'm back. So, Fernanda did my makeup and we look just the same. And now I'm going to do her makeup in my style of makeup, which is a little bit more minimal, a little bit more wearable every day for most people, and kind of like a glamier. You could probably see this look on the red carpet.
So basically, I did this look, but with different lips and different hair. I turned her into me, essentially, is what I did. So if you want to see that, you can click up here to watch it. And right now, she's going to be using the same products, but for a red carpet glam look.
Yeah, we're ready to go. All right, click and subscribe or whatever. All right,
Yes, oh, I totally forgot to say that in the last video. But yeah, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. You're a little...
I'm combo.
You're combo, yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna do it my way.
Yeah,
my fingers.
That's the exact objective of this video.
I know. And people will for sure be like, I can't believe she's using her fingers. And I'll be like, I don't care.
It feels nice. Her hands are clean. She just washed them.
So this was just on my face, but now it's going right on her face. Whatever. We love each other. This is how it goes. And, Fernie will put in the...
Oh, she calls me Fernie, by the way.
Yeah, Fernie will put in at the bottom of the screen all the products as I'm using them.
No,
because... No, you won't.
I will put them down below. I will link them in the description.
Okay, so I just started it with the Smashbox Primerizer, primer and moisturizer on the sides of her face. Then the Milk Makeup Blur Stick, that went on the center T-zone of Fernanda's face. That is just going to balance out her drier areas and her oilier areas, create a nice smooth base for me to work from. Now, unlike a lot of people, I like to start with the eyes, and I'm going to go ahead and put in the J-Cat.
Oh, it's not in focus. I'll hold it. Wait, let me zoom into my face. We're going to start with the J-Cat, all about that base, eyeshadow base.
Now, the reason I like to start with the eyes is just because if there's any fallout, it's very easy to just clean up and then just continue with the makeup versus having to clean up, reapply your foundation, concealer, or anything else that's fallen. And you can just kind of liberally apply this with your finger. And I like to work off the back of my hand. Some people like to work off a palette. Some people like to work with brushes even. I like to finger paint. I love that you can manage your camera from the chair as I'm also doing this, because I would be terrible at this. I film everything on my iPhone. Yeah,
Cici does a lot of Instagram Live and Instagram Story kind of mini tutorials and talks about products a lot. She's very knowledgeable about products, so I would highly recommend checking out her Instagram. She doesn't really do YouTube, but she does the grams.
The grams, yes. Do it for the grams. Honestly, it's just kind of like, it's just easier for me to talk about things real fast, show people kind of what I would use.
So we're starting off with the Creepy Cute palette, and you're starting off with the color
I'm starting off with Third Eye. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of strawberry milk, and I'm going to, kind of with a big fluffy brush, I'm going to start kind of powdering on the back of my hand to take off some of the excess product. And just kind of start taking off a little bit of the texture of the primer, because even the primer, sometimes it can really grab a hold of the colors, especially when you're using stuff with like a very high payoff. Help you control how much pigment you're getting in one go. Holding the eye taut kind of helps you get a better blend. You can kind of start to blend out as well.
I don't think you've ever done my makeup.
Nope.
That's crazy. That's insanity.
So I'm going to use the Cold Shoulder out of the Creepy Cute palette. I'm just going to go into the inner corners. And like I said, you don't even have to be too careful because you're going to clean everything up afterwards. Wow, the payoff on these are absolutely insane.
I told you.
Oh my god.
They're really pigmented.
They're really pigmented. Beautiful.
That's blue.
That is some blue. Next, with the Snow Angels palette.
From Dose of Colors.
From Dose of Colors. We're going in with this kind of, what is that, like a light mauve?
Yeah.
Not even. Like a light rosy mauve color. Just kind of placing the color right now. And because I'm already planning to go in with some texture, I don't really even care about blending it right at the moment. Just kind of placing the color, letting it set for just a second. Starting to draw in my shape. So then with the Melt Cosmetics in this Hammered.
It's the Blueprint stack.
This is the blue Prince.
That's very pigmented as well.
So we're going to rub it off on the back of our hand. We're learning. Fernie likes stuff with payoff.
Yeah, I do.
I have to say, now I'm actually having you turn towards me, and I'm just going to have you open your eyes and look straight here. This just kind of helps me create a guide. If I have her look right at me, I can kind of start to etch out where I want my wing to start. Because when you are looking straight to camera, or when you're looking straight at your makeup artist, it's the most natural position for your eye shape to be, so you can gauge exactly what it's going to look like when your client has their eyes open, you know, or has their eyes open is looking at someone. It's a very easy way to start etching out your shape without having to guess. Sometimes when you look down, the skin moves. And so if you started doing it at the crease here, when she opens her eyes, especially if you have a client with hooded eyes, you wouldn't be able to necessarily gauge how hooded they are or how much the skin moves.
And just blending.
Just blending. Now using that same color, I'm going to take a fatter, smaller, flat brush. Go ahead and look up for me. And I'm just going to start lining underneath. So I overshot it with my eyeshadow a little bit here, so I'm just cleaning up on the sides here with my Q-tip because I don't really want to connect the top and bottom.
Opposite of what I did.
Yep. This is what's fun about doing other people's makeups. So really quick.
The NYX Jumbo Pencil in the color Cashmere.
Yes.
It's like a very pale champagne-y gold.
So before I do her skin, because I'm going to have to rest my hands on her face, I'm going to have her look up. And I'm just going to line the inside waterline. Now, on myself, I sometimes have to then touch up right before I leave the house because my eye kind of eats it. But I'm hoping, because Fernanda has amazing, beautiful, glowing skin, and she's perfect in every way, her makeup will not move and will allow us to finish this makeup without further ado.
I've never done my waterline this early in the makeup process. This is insanity.
Well, the idea is to not have to go back and fix anything. Because when you're working on a client, right, you're working for time. Mm-hmm. People are usually paying for your time. And more time that you have to spend cleaning is more time that you can't be working on the next person. Sometimes if you're on set, that's what happens. So you kind of want to try to work as quickly and efficiently as possible. And I'm just going to go in and kind of blend it in with that little bit of blue right there as well. So I'm just picking up any little bits of fallen shadow. There's barely anything on this cotton pad, but just in case, you always want to clean up any fallout before you apply any face products, foundation, concealer, primer, what have you, because it will go ashy or muddy immediately. There's no way to blend or color correct that out. Oh, is this the one? Is this the one?
Yes, that's the one.
Oh my god, okay. Okay, so Fernanda just showed me this. Dude, you can tell them all about it.
They already know all about it.
That's right, because you did my face.
Well, also because they watch my channel. And if it's your first time here and you have no idea what's happening, then welcome to the madness. This is the yellow color corrector that I use to conceal and correct my blemishes before doing foundation or concealer or anything.
Okay, so on a clean part of my hand, I'm just going to apply a little dot. Just because I like to work in very thin layers, this allows me to control how much is on the brush, kind of tap off the excess, and allows me to kind of go in anywhere that I see her kind of bluish purpley undertone. I'm just going to lightly tap that in. Fernanda likes to use a brush to blend it out. I like to use my finger, but like I like to use my finger.
No, I used to use my finger.
You like to use your finger?
Yes.
On clients?
No. On myself.
No. Yeah.
Oh, on clients.
On
okay.
clients.
Yeah.
So basically the difference is Fernanda works on herself a lot, but she also works on set. And when she works on clients, she does it a different way, just for the sake of professionalism. It also has a lot to do with the way that different makeup artists were taught or the industry that they're in. Set makeup artists, like on film, they're taught to use brushes always. Now, I feel like once you kind of create a relationship with the client, you can start to take a little bit of a license. Make sure you're always washing your hands. You're very, very clean.
Using hand sanitizer.
Yes. Wash, hand sanitize. Make sure your products are sanitary. Make sure that you're not storing them dirty. It's very important.
Yeah, usually people don't mind if you use your hands on them. I just have the habit of using a brush because I find like when you're doing it on yourself, it's very intuitive the way your hands are turned. But if you're doing it on someone else, it's like the angle can be a little weird. So I find it easier to use a brush.
Also, I feel like the benefit of using your fingers is the heat from your hand helps blend things.
100%. You're right, this is very relaxing. Now it's my
Are
turn
you
to
gonna
fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep, Birdie. I'll make you some tea. Another thing is because I'm in my 30s now and I've noticed a lot of creasing, especially after a long night out or trying to pack on a lot of makeup on myself, like especially in terms of contour and highlight. This area right here will crease very badly. So working in thin layers like this, controlling how much is on your brush is very beneficial, and using your finger you kind of get to like press and roll the product into the skin, allowing it to settle into it. And picking up the rest with your finger. You can always wipe it off onto a paper towel afterwards.
I find that a beauty blender is very similar. So it's like if you're used to using a beauty blender, you'd probably like to use your fingers too.
That's right. So I've taken the Perlice BB cream, just taken that on the back of my hand, and then again with this big fluffy Moda brush. This is the M30 Eye Contour brush. I'm just going to go over, this is a bit light, so I'm going to use this. A little bit,
but it works in the end.
It works in the end. This is her personal, so I know that that it's her color.
Well, also, my forehead is darker than the rest of my face, so.
As is most people, so is mine. Okay, so again, in very sheer layers, I'm just going in through the center of the face and right over that color corrective.
Yeah, I have never applied my foundation with this brush. It's so interesting.
Because it's a synthetic bristle, it delivers the pigment, but because it's fluffy, you don't get any streaking. So it kind of removes the need to then go back in and blend everything out with a beauty blender if that's how you've usually been doing it. For me, it's like I just skip this step because of this brush. And it helps me apply it in very, very thin coats. The idea of the foundation really is just to create evenness on the skin, not really to conceal. So if you're looking at makeup from kind of a traditional standpoint, this is just to take out any redness, any imperfections in tone and color, and then all the corrective stuff will come later with your heavier concealer, which is a thicker consistency and also usually more matte to hide any texture.
So for concealer, Cici's actually going to be using a foundation. This is the Milk Makeup Blur Foundation, and it's a much heavier coverage than the BB cream that we used.
It's funny because we were just discussing the texture of this. I think it's very matte, but it's also matte compared to the glowiness of the BB cream. So when you put it next to each other, it gives the illusion that it's a lot more matte than it is.
But if you use it by itself, it's not that matte. It's like, I don't see it as a matte foundation.
Exactly.
Even though they sell it as a matte foundation, it's not, like, when you compare it to other matte foundations from other companies, it's totally not.
So this is where I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to touch at any points where I see little redness, little imperfections, breakouts. You could do this more accurately and strategically with a much more fine point brush, but because I'm going to then end up blending it out, I'm not going to be quite as precise with it. I'm letting the air hit it and set it just slightly before I go in and blend it, so it sticks a little bit more to those areas of the face. Also, again, you know, you can work from a palette, but if you can work from the back of your hand, it's a very good tool. You can just go in and in light layers, go in and conceal with this as well. And like I said, for people who are, you know, getting up there in age.
Yeah, I've noticed creasing that I didn't used to have.
Yeah, sure. You really want to work in very thin layers and make sure that you're not packing on product because it will crease throughout the day. Not that Fernanda is anything but a spring chicken.
Okay.
Natural, soft, dewy, glowy. And it doesn't change the color of her skin, really. If you were to find some clients have a lot of lightness on this part of their face because their chin hides it from the sun, you can go in and extend the foundation this way. I do like to use a heavier or at least more matte foundation here just so there's less transfer onto any clothing. Any clothing, scarves, jewelry, whatever. There you go. Never want to make it look like a mask. Always extend it down. Pet peeve.
I never put foundation on my neck, but...
Ever?
Ever.
What? You also have a very good neck tan. No, I was just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's a weird thing to say. I did put some on before, but I already ate it. This is the Milk Makeup Kush Lip Balm. Just doing some lip prep. And you really like this one, right?
I love that one. And then we're going in with the also Kush Fiber Brow Gel.
We're going in with the Dutch. Is it Dutch?
Yes. It's called Dutch by Milk.
Kush Brow Gel.
I'm just going to paint in her nubbins real quick.
My nubs.
I just start to create a base for where her brows are gonna go. And if you have full brows, they also make a clear brow gel, which is really great for just, like I said, beginning to build the brow, shape the brow, and then you can go in with your powder, your pencil, gels, whatever it is that you used to do your brows with.
These Kush brows, they have fibers in them, so they make your brows look thicker, kind of like a normal mascara would. This is a Catrice eyeshadow. It's just a very ashy brown. I don't know if they're cruelty-free.
Well, because it was on the table and because this is your makeup, we'll just go with it. I'm just going to just start to etch in my shape just because I'm just learning my way around Fernanda's face. I'm not super well versed with doing missing brows. So
But you're gonna have to be.
I know, because I
just
shaved
off. But yeah, basically, if you ever encounter someone that has like half hair and half no hair, you can see that as she's applying it, my hair still looks way darker. So I usually go for a darker color on the skin and a lighter color where there's hair, and it kind of balances it out.
So then with the NYX Makeup micro pencil, I'm going to go in where Fernanda's missing a few hairs.
Wow.
Just a few. And just start to etch a few little strokes in.
Normally you like to do this with markers, right? But I don't own any brow markers.
Yeah, so I mean, just if you want to get that kind of feathered brow look, kind of like a 70s Sophia Loren look, this is kind of how you go about creating that shape. And you can start creating a little bit of like texture in the inside corner of the brow too. Kind of creating a floofier brow. That's a professional term, by the way.
Yes.
Floofy brows. All right, so I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna take that same brown color that I had originally used. I'm just gonna continue the shape a bit. Now if you could just open your eyes and actually turn towards me a bit. I'm just gonna continue out to almost match the length of the brow. And then do the same thing on the other side.
I usually like to do brows first because then it serves as like a guide for the eyeshadow.
Exactly.
It's funny, you use much bigger brushes than I do.
Yes. I try to find a brush that fits the space that I'm working in. And just, like I said, I like to work kind of quickly. But I also feel like my philosophy on brushes and sizes and stuff like that comes a lot from hairdressing, where the old school masters of like Vidal Sassoon would take super, super thin sections of the hair and cut to a guide, and it would take, an hour to do a haircut. And then Toni and Guy came around in the 1970s, I want to say, and they took much bigger sections, really texturized the shape of everything. And my mentor once said, if you take bigger sections, there's less room for mistake. So if you make a mistake, you can fix it very quickly. You know, if you put on the color once and you realize it's not the right color, you can take it off really fast, versus building it and building it and building it and then realize that it's not right and having to go back and spend more time fixing it. I'm all about not having to fix things.
Oh, that's so funny. That's like the opposite of me.
Really?
I find that if you work little by little, there's less room for mistake because you can pace yourself.
Yeah, but I also think it depends on how you're working. You do a lot of detail work. In the kind of work that I do, there's sometimes detail work, but not always. It's a lot of like washes of color and just knowing placement. You know, it's like if you know your placement, it becomes kind of second nature after a while. So at that point, you're trying to mostly just save time. Or at least that's the way that I look at it. And, you know, when you're working on yourself, if this is just a tutorial that you're watching just to learn how to do makeup on yourself, I feel like if you got to get ready in 5 minutes, you know, it serves a purpose to be able to learn how to work faster under those conditions.
So just intensifying that brown.
Just intensifying the brown on the outer corners. So using a very small angle brush and a white eye pencil. This is the Jumbo Crayon by NYX in Milk. I'm just going to open up Fernanda's eye and continue the line here. This is something that was super popular in the 60s, and because I kind of based the way that I was going to do your eyes on Sophia Loren, this is a trick she used to kind of elongate her eye as well. So again, with the brown color from the Melt palette, I'm just going to go in with that same pencil that I've cleaned off.
Brush.
Sorry, that's what I meant. You know what? In Spanish, it's called pincel.
Yeah, in Portuguese too.
Yeah, I know. And so I'm like, it's a pencil. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's a pencil. Foreigner problems. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So that pretty much starts to set the look for how this is going to go. I'm going to take a little bit of the beaming color in the Melt blueprint stack. Go ahead and close. And I'm just going to apply it to the inner corners here. You know what? I'm not sure if I like that.
Stop dropping all my shit.
Oh my god! I'm going to go back in with that Cold Shoulder color, the same one that's on Fernanda's inner eyelid. And I'm just going to color in this little tiny corner.
This is the Rituel Defee Inner Glow Cream Pigment in the color Eros. I use this to contour Cici's nose when I did the look on her.
And I'm just going to take a little foundation brush and we're just going to start building it. I do believe this was called burning the edges back in the 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Where you just kind of lightly contoured. Let's do a little bit around the forehead because you were literally burning the edges of the whole face. And I'm just applying pretty liberally around the forehead and the cheekbones, and then kind of very minimally everywhere else, kind of leaving like a tiny square around Fernanda's forehead. Now, I really like the way Fernanda had built up the contour color more in the center of the cheek. Try to mimic that. I would like that trick, but it is really not my usual. So taking a small brush, just gonna start working that around and blending it out to the point where it looks natural.
This is a really good color for contouring.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a little bit, it's kind of like it's not exactly brown, it's almost like a brick red, but it's cool toned, so it works for contour.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It's very natural. It looks more like a tan than a contour in that way, where it's like, it's got some warmth to it. Same brush, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the Milk Makeup Quickie.
The lip and cheek.
The lip and cheek. I'm just going to start building it. And take a little bit up to the forehead and a little bit on the chin as well, just for continuity's sake. I feel like when you have blusher just on your cheek and nowhere else, it looks a bit, I feel like alien is a good word, or just like weird, awkward.
That was also a big 80s thing, is bringing the blush onto the temples.
I feel like I'm stuck there. The 80s is a place, it is my happy place. It is definitely the birth of my interest of makeup. My mom was a model in the 80s, and she would kind of talk about all the old tricks that they used to use. It really sparked my interest in makeup in the first place.
I mean, my mom doesn't really wear makeup, but when she did, it was in the 80s, and so when she gave me like a blush for me to use and I went to apply it, she's like, you always bring it up here, and so it's like, you know.
So if you feel like you've overshot your blush or your contour or whatever, you could just take that same brush you've applied your foundation with and just kind of blend it out, use it to kind of lighten everything up a touch.
Skin looks really good.
Yeah, girl, you look dewy and fresh as the day you were born. And you probably won't crease. I mean, I can't say like you wouldn't, but like you will crease a lot less.
Fingers crossed.
So I'm going in with the Milk Blur and Set powder and a small brush, and we're just going to strategically powder. Oop. Now Fernanda's creased a tiny bit underneath her eyes, not badly though. So I'm just going to take that brush, blend it out, and then immediately set it with a little bit of powder. Then all along her nose, tip of her nose, center of her nose, a little bit in the center of her forehead, center of the chin. Basically the opposite of everywhere that she put highlighter on my face, I'm actually mattifying it.
Pretty much.
I like to keep the shine at the arch of the brow, the high points of the cheeks, the cupid's bow, and almost nowhere else unless it's a very specific look that I'm doing. But it's personal preference. I mean, I've seen people do it. Obviously you do it and it looks great. I feel like it just depends on the look you're going for.
I mean, this is generally where I powder though. Like I do this powder, but then I add highlighter on top, so it's not oily shine. I apply the shine only where I want it. So going in with the Milk Makeup CEO Gel Liner, it's their dark brown.
Love it. This is the first time I'm going to be using this. I just want to kind of see how it works. Oh, it glides on beautifully. Actually,
yeah,
if you could face me, we're going to do the same thing where we're just going to etch with the pencil right where we want our line to go with the eyes open and hopefully looking at your artist or at yourself in the mirror. And you're going to extend the line as far as you want it to. Once you've kind of got your general shape in, then you can continue to add pigment and then blend it out. So I'm going to go in and
A tiny pencil brush.
Tiny pencil brush, smoke that out. And I feel like gel pencils have a quick drying time.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of have to blend them almost immediately, otherwise they sort of set into place. Just going in with a little bit of eyeshadow. This is
a little bit of black.
A little bit of black.
From the Creepy Cute palette.
Again, you can use that to kind of connect and create a wing if you choose to, just by like connecting at the very little hood of the eye here. Not that she has hooded eyes, but when she lifts her eye forward, if you look towards camera, when she lifts her eye up, because this is already at the fold of the eye, you wouldn't be able to get the liner. It would create like a swoop, and we really want like a sharp line. So by being able to have her open her eye and look, we can create the lines so that when she has her eye open, you can see that. And then asking her to close her eyes, then we can continue to create a blend with the shadow. Always blending.
Even though it's funny, like you didn't blend at the beginning, you're doing all your blending towards the end.
Yes. I like to work like this, like block out my colors, put everything where it's supposed to be, and then use my finishing, I call it like my finishing time, to blend and perfect. Okay, so with whatever's left on your brush, this is the part where you can start to extend outwards and really start to get a good blend. Don't want to keep dipping your brush into your powder because you'll just keep picking up color and keep creating things to blend. So just by using whatever's left. Lastly, again with the angle brush, I'm just going to connect these lines.
Which lines?
These lines. So you have your wing here,
mm-hmm.
and then you have your under eye right here.
Oh, I thought you weren't going to connect them. Just so you guys can see.
And it'll make a bigger difference if your lashes were curled with lashes.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Just going in with the NYX felt tip white marker just to intensify that white a little bit. Let me show what that looks like. So Cici's connected the bottom and the white kind of just extends the waterline a bit.
Just kind of opens the eye up just a touch. You'll see it in certain angles.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm further away from camera than usual, but... So for highlighter, we're going to be using the new Rituel de Fille, the Siren Metamorphic highlighter, and it's what I used on Cici, and it's a very interesting goldy, pinky highlighter. That's the cream. It's kind of like a balm, almost.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's really nice.
This is the first time I'm using this as well. It's very balmy. It's a little different than anything I've used. It definitely has some visible glitter when you first apply until you start kind of pressing and rolling it into the skin. And I feel like the harder you press, the more you're going to apply. You're going to get a very intense shine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you use a light pressure, and I'm just going to go in kind of a halo effect around the temples, tops of the cheeks.
And what I like about their products is all of them smell like lavender.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. So if you hate lavender, then...
This is not the product for you.
Nope, because literally all their products smell like lavender. Don't die. Don't cough on all my lipsticks. What are you doing? She literally just went on all my lipsticks.
Good thing that they're locked and sealed.
Wow.
I mean, I could have just coughed on you. I don't know what's better. We're literally working in like 2 cubic feet. So just a tiny, tiny bit on the Cupid's bow. And now I don't contour the nose. And Fernanda has a beautiful nose. So I'm just going to do a little bit of highlighter just to kind of give her a little bit of what she likes. But for the most part, I would, if I had a client who really, really wanted to contour the nose, I would just go in with some powder just for shits and giggles. We may do that right now. So going in with a slightly powdery brush. Sorry, what am I trying to say? Not powdery brush.
Fluffy
brush. Just going to barely touch on the sides of Fernanda's nose all the way up to her eyebrows and brow bone. I don't know what the parts of the face are called, dude.
Wow.
Seriously?
Literally your job.
I mean, I'm making you look good, so that's kind of all that matters.
True.
Is that how you do it?
This is supposed to be how you do it, not how I do it.
I know, but I'm like, I like the way your nose looks.
Thanks, Mom.
Also, like, I also work for other people. Like I work for the client, not for me. So it's a little bit of a different approach to the makeup. Even though thank you for giving me creative license to do whatever the heck I want. I'm just going to blend a little bit more with Strawberry Milk and Third Eye from the Creepy Cute palette. The last thing we're going to do is glitter and lips. Oh, and mascara.
So now we're going for glitter, and Cici's going to be using the NYX glitter primer to apply the glitter.
And I'm using a lip brush. So go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm just concentrating right there on the join where I said we wouldn't really worry about blending. That is where we're going to concentrate our glitter. Just right in the center of the lids, working it a little bit back and forth to kind of disperse the glitter so it's not just one straight line, but keeping it pretty centered and working it up.
And this glitter is from Strobe. I don't know the name, but I'll put it on screen.
It'd be beneficial to say that when you concentrate a glitter or a shimmer on the center of the eye, working it upwards, it gives the illusion that the eyes are more open and slightly more rounded. See, open? And then I might do just a touch under the eye as well.
That's really funny. The glitter is reading as like gold. Oh, that's weird because these are kind of like color shifting glitters. And you used the blue one?
I used the same blue one that you used on me.
Oh, that's weird. I used it in your inner corner and on you it's reading green and on me it's reading gold. Oh, that's so weird. There's a little bit of green depending on the angle, but you get more gold than you do green.
Well, you definitely put the glitter on something that was already a blue base.
Yeah.
And I put it more towards the brown. So it might just be picking up a little bit of different colors depending on what color you layer it over.
Nice. Now I'm going to do lashes off camera.
Yes. Yes, we'll do lashes off camera. And we'll talk about them though.
Okay.
Just going back in and applying a tiny bit more blush. I am a big fan of blush. Fernie's a big fan of blush, so.
And I applied the Hourglass Caution Mascara to my lashes. Since Cici wants something discreet, we're going to go with these Kiss. They're like half demi-wispies, and they're just little accents. I think they're called the demi-wispy accent. So yeah, we're just going to pop that on my outer corners. And then we'll be back to do lips.
So we're going in with the Ink of Elation, and we're going to go ahead and start the outline of Fernanda's lips. Try to start doing the color.
The color Hazelnut.
Hazelnut.
It's a very rosy nude.
It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. That tickles.
Like really stretch your lips out? No, thank you.
Oh, that tickles.
It is weird to have your makeup done by another artist.
No, but it tickles even when I do it to myself. It's
really?
Like sometimes I'm like doing my own makeup and I'm like, ooh.
So I'm going in with the NYX Professional Makeup lip pencil in Need Me. And just going to start perfecting Fernanda's shape of her lip. And then with a small soft brush, I'm just going to blend it in with the lipstick and give it a little bit of a softer finish. Not such a hard line.
Do you always do pencil after the lipstick?
Yeah, I tend to. I feel like it blends a little bit better versus doing the lip pencil first, especially when you're working with liquid mattes. Because once it's set and then this is also setting, it is kind of hard. It is a little bit difficult to get it to all blend together. Last thing I'm going to do is
gloss.
Gloss.
Okay, so we decided on this wig and this headband, and I am so 70s right now, and this leather jacket. So Cici has actually transformed me into her.
It's true.
What's going on?
It's true. Even though I do feel like you could see this look in a lot of different settings. I mean, it's a little urban chic, but it's also, you could pair it with a gown and an updo.
Yeah, I feel like if I took this off, it would be very much like a hippie chic.
Hippie chic look, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to go back in and just powder just slightly, just because it's been a moment since we've had any touch-up powders. Sorry, powder touch-ups. What am I saying? I don't know either. It's late, y'all. Okay, so I'm mixing the Gloss Angeles by Smashbox in with some clear gloss just to sheer it out just a bit. I don't want a ton of glitter. Just a hint of sparkle, a hint of shine. And also just to re-moisturize the lip a bit and rub together. We love the velvet, or like the matte lipsticks for the wearability, the longevity of it. But sometimes it's nice to put a little bit of moisture back in there. All right, lady, I think you're ready to go. You're ready to go out on the town.
Ooh. Me with this hair is so funny.
I love you with this hair.
Let me touch up your brow so that you can show up on camera. She literally rubbed her brows off.
I did.
No,
I was sweating.
We can't do this.
So that's the finished look, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some helpful tips. And you can find more of Fernanda and I on my channel right now, and probably do more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was really fun.
This is fun. And if you watch both videos, you'll see that we both have very different makeup application styles. And you can even see the result. I did this on her minus the lips. She ate that off already.
Yeah.
But you can see they're very different makeup styles.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just going to zoom you in and show you a close-up since I was sitting very far behind the whole time.
Yes, girl.
I'm going to show you guys a zoomed in.
Cover girl.
Put the bass in your walk.
All right, bye. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. I have a channel on YouTube that I never post to, but
Yeah.
I do. I'm very active on stories on Instagram.
Yes.
Do a lot of tutorials there.
At Cici Anderson.
At Cici Anderson. Okay, bye.
So I'm just going to zoom you guys in so you can see. So you can really see the extended eye corner, the outer corner. I think it's a really cool effect. It's really different. No one really does that anymore. It's really cool, and you can see just a little hint of glitter. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to all my patrons who support me, and I will see you next time. Bye. And let us know if you want to see us do more stuff together and what you want to see us do.
Yeah, questions. We love questions.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the answers.
We have a
Most
few
of the
videos.
answers.
we have a few videos planned, and that's actually a big project that we're preparing for soon. So I'm not going to talk about that. But if you have any requests, we will take them. Bye.